Good afternoon, welcome back to another video. It's Stephen here on Thursday the 17th July. Very groggy, Stephen. I'm going to be very honest with you. I put my head down about an hour ago for a nap because I was that tired. Woke up to some breaking news. I missed the announcement of this transfer because absolutely no one saw this coming. City have confirmed another signing for the summer. Another talented young footballer, 18-year-old Norwegian midfielder Sverre Halseth Nypan. Probably absolutely butchered that. I apologise to any Norwegians or even Scandinavians watching this. You're going to laugh in my face. But I'll give it a go anyway. We've signed a very interesting young player. One that I didn't hear of until literally maybe January this year when City were linked to him, and after that I started paying attention to this young man, and I've been incredibly impressed, truly incredibly impressed by what this man could potentially offer City in the future. Don't get this wrong, there's still a long way to go for this young man to be a City player and a regular, but he has extreme talent, a seriously talented young man, in the way that people have been excited for the likes of Echeverry and so on. I would categorise him as in a very similar frame. I truly would. I think he's an incredibly talented young man, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops at Manchester City. We'll go through all that and what we can expect from him today and all that kind of stuff, and talk about his general ability, how he plays, and maybe what his future will hold at Manchester City, because he's very talented and there's an awful lot of back narrative and all this kind of stuff around him. So who is he? Who is Sverre Halseth Nypan? Let's go over to Manchester City's website where they've got a little bit of detail on this young side. Don't forget, by the way, if you are watching live, please give the video a like, and please subscribe if you're new to the channel if you like honest, sincere, lifelong, unbiased Manchester City content from a lifelong Manchester City fan who's been watching since the 90s. I'm here with you guys, and I enjoy making these videos. Let's go on to mancity.com and talk about this new guy, and it says here, City Norwegian midfielder Nypan joins Manchester City. I'll click the article and read it with you guys here. Man City are delighted to confirm the signing of Sverre Nypan from Norwegian side Rosenborg. The 18-year-old midfielder signed a 5-year contract with the club, taking him through to the summer of 2030. Nypan, who has made his first team debut for Rosenborg at the age of 15, just 15 years old, arrives at the Etihad armed with a reputation for being one of the most promising teenage talents to have emerged in the European game. Predominantly a central midfielder, Nypan's versatility, talent and technique has also seen him deployed as an attacking midfielder, wide on the flanks and also as a centre forward. From 70 appearances so far for Rosenborg, he's got 14 goals alongside 11 assists, representing Norway at every age from under 15s up to and including under 21 level. It becomes the 5th signing of the summer after Reine Nori, Rein Shirky, Tijana Reinders and Bettinelli. Commenting on joining City, Nypan said this. He said, "I'm incredibly happy and proud to have joined Man City. It's a dream for any young footballer to become part of this club and to join such a group of world-class talent. I'm still very young with a lot to learn, but the chance to be coached by Pep Guardiola, the best manager in the world, will only help me become a better player. There's already a special connection between City and Norway through Erling Haaland and Oscar Bob, but I'm very proud to become the latest Norwegian player to join the club." Hugo Viana, taking over for Chica Briggenstein now with these little comments, said this. "Sverre is an exciting young player that the club has been wanting for some time now. We feel that he'd already had numerous standout qualities, but that at only 18 years old, he's only going to improve. We believe he'll be an important asset for City in the years to come, and we'll have supported him every step away in his development." Everyone at City was delighted to welcome to the club. So there you go. This is the baby-faced assassin here. As you can see him there, he's a very young man, bless him. And he's joined Manchester City Football Club. A little cheeky cherub of a face, hasn't he? And I can't wait to see how this goes. So, yeah, we've got our signing. Thank you very much to William, by the way, for the super chat. William, where are you? William said, "I hope you and your family are well, Steve." We're very good, mate. We're 2 months old, my little man now. We're 2.5-year-old, of course, as well. We're coming out the other side of the tiredness to an extent. Still knackered, but we're very good. Thank you so much, William, for the kind words. But yeah, Nypan, look, what do we know about him? As I said, 18 years old, very talented. This was part of a protracted bid to signing, where the rumours was like going to Arsenal at one point, that he was going to go to Girona maybe, or Aston Villa. But it's like City have swept in about a month ago. Fabrizio Romano dropped the "here we go" when we signed him, about signing him, and it's finally been confirmed. And it's one of those things where he is the real deal. He's an incredibly talented player. As I said, full transparency, I didn't know anything about him until January, because obviously I wasn't paying any attention to Rosenborg's games on the Norwegian League. From what I can tell, he's ridiculous. I've watched videos of him and so on, and what's most impressed about me is how complete he looks already as an 18-year-old footballer. Easily one of the hottest talents to come out of Scandinavia, full stop. Very similar in the way that Odegaard emerged from that, of course, went to Real Madrid. It's like if Odegaard hadn't gone to Madrid and just stayed in Norway instead. That level of talent, in my humble opinion. And what do I take from him? Well, I've watched his games, and the thing that strikes me about him is his urgency and also composure on the ball. You've got this wonderful combination of immense technical ability. He's great at driving past people. He's sort of semi-two-footed. He can go this way or that way. No real sort of like bias in terms of which way he goes. Steps past people very well. Incredible technique. A good dribbler. Very hard runner. An incredibly hard runner, in fact. Very aggressive. A good dribbler. Good shooting. A good defensive player as well. Incredibly complete. Has a great tendency to sort of arrive in the box late and crash and score goals. It sounds like I'm like sort of describing a complete midfielder here, because I am. Like, there is like a young, it reminds the most, I would probably say, of Gundogan at Dortmund. Do you remember the Gundogan Dortmund where against Man City? Do you remember that game where Dortmund came to the Etihad and Joe Hart put in an absolute masterclass and Gundogan absolutely ran us to bits? That's who he reminds me of, a young Ilkay Gundogan who was such an aggressive dribbler while also being so technically fantastic, and a bit of Bernardo's pressing, absolutely. A ridiculously complete midfielder, and there's also a little bit of Pedri in terms of how he glides past people. Now, these are of course very lofty comparisons, and there's a long way between Rosenborg's level and Manchester City's, but the fact that he's doing this in the Norwegian league for years now, despite being 18, as a senior player, speaks remarkable volumes about his ability. Look, there are many incredibly talented young EDS players at City who go to leagues less than the Norwegian league and still struggle, because it's very, very, very hard just to play senior football. Like, I've seen like incredibly high players go to the Dutch league or the Belgian league or whatever, or the Championship, and just struggle, because that step up from academy football to senior football is really hard. So to do it really well and look brilliant and start regularly in the Norwegian league at 15, 16, 17, 18 years old is impressive. It truly is. Yeah, he's a number 8. He absolutely is an 8. He's a complete midfielder. Now, I'll go to a few sort of like tactical threads that I've read about the guy. This is over at Scouted Football. We'll go through this sort of thread together. So basically, he's been incredibly sought after since he was around 15 years old when he made his Elite Serie N debut in 2023. He first broke out as well in 2024. He played over 60 first-team games before turning 18. And this is true. The first thing that strikes you is how big he is. He's not a freak of nature, but he's a very solid size. He's a big lad. He is deceptively quick, and he is very mobile too. I mean, this guy has physicality. And I agree with this. When you play a lot of football from a young age at a good level, that is definitely a good tell. You can tell a player who has it mentally, because they can cope physically, but they can also cope tactically. They can cope with the pressure as well. Yeah, travels between boxes. He slits past pressure. He can facilitate and attack and pop in the box. He can do it all, basically. So this is interesting. I was reading this about a month ago in another video, but this shows how hard he runs in general. So he ranks at the average, but basically, his speed of running is well above the average, as you can see. In terms of actual distance per 90, he's sort of reasonably in the middle, but he's a fast runner as well. He runs a lot, well above average in terms of speed of running. Runs harder than most, essentially. This graph supports the idea as well, showing that Nypan runs about 1.1 kilometers a game. Roughly 12% of his total distance covered is done at high intensity. So essentially, 12 of 121 midfielders across Norway and Sweden in terms of intensity in his running. So he's already got the physicality to his game, which will of course suit the Premier League. Do you know who sort of like I'm hoping it'll be like? Do you remember like it's nothing like it at all? But do you know when Hewson like joined Bournemouth? Obviously it was from Juventus, and it's very different. But he was this like gangly lad with loads of technical ability who just took to the Premier League. Very different position. But it'll be sort of like that when eventually he joins. I know it's a bit of a random comparison, but I think he's just somewhat, the way he holds himself reminds me of him. I know he's a different player. One of the fastest midfielders as well in terms of peak speed in the league. As you can see in the Norwegian league, he picks the ball up and he drives past them pretty easy. A good turn of pace, which gets him away. He reminds me in terms of pace-wise, I would say, of Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne used to have a really good burst of pace and got him past people very easily. But you never say Kevin De Bruyne was lightning quick, but he was deceptively quick. That's what he reminds me of in terms of pace. It's obviously about, look at this here. It says central midfield is just as much about short area quickness, not just full on pace. It's about getting away from people and getting back and goal side. As you can see here, in the corner here, he's incredibly good at that in terms of explosiveness to sprint and his acceleration to high speed. He's got an incredibly good turn of pace, essentially, and he's only 18 years old. He's a very, very, very exciting player. Basically, he's already incredibly hard working, which is good, and he already has a good turn of pace. It's great. He's very good at progressing the play through the middle. One of those things where he said he does it with nifty dribbles to slip tackles, but clever position to find angles and quick 1-2s, plus non-stop selfish runs ahead of the ball. And the data back it up. He's a 90th percentile ranking for runs ahead of the ball, which essentially means he's very good at making himself available. He's very good at helping play develop. He comes alive in the second phase of possession by sliding around to move sequences on, creating angles, finding 1-2s, unselfish runs are the order of the day. It's one of those things... It's a massive green flag. Essentially, he's a very smart, very creative midfielder who makes himself available for people and incredibly good at helping City, or hopefully City, Rosenborg progress the ball. Very, very intelligent footballer. And I've got an awful lot of time for what I've read of him and seen of him so far. What I love about him is he has this incredibility as well. From what I've seen of him, he just scans constantly, gets the ball. He'll use his arms really well to shield from defenders, and then he'll progress it naturally via passing it this way, that way, long passes. Overall, he knows what he's going to do before he does it. He's very, very efficient. Doesn't seem to waste touches. He releases the ball quickly if he needs. He doesn't tend to over-dribble. Incredibly smart decision-making. Just a really smart player. He has a bit of everything to his game. I'm watching clips of him here just drift past people with ease with his left foot, playing people in. With both feet, turning on a sixpence, playing lovely little line-breaking passes, rotating with the wingers, playing 1-2s with the forwards, dribbling past 3 or 4 people if needs be, coming back to win tackles. A smart footballer. So what does this mean for Manchester City in general and his future? Obviously, he's really talented, but I think it's very obvious when you sign a player. 12 million, by the way, so it's obvious that we've signed him with potential. But he is 18 years old, and he is a midfielder, and we're very stacked in that area. I'll obviously just go over to sort of Twitter now, and I'll just type up this little thing in terms of midfielder options, as we can see together. So here we go. Midfielder options currently for City. I'll put here for a while, soon to be gone. Here we go. So here for a while, you'd think Rodri, Reinders, I'm going to put Nico G. I think he's going to be here for a while. As it currently stands, he might have gone. Bernardo, gone within 2 years. Gone in a year or two. So gone in a year or two. Will be Bernardo. It will be Gundo. It will be... is anyone else potentially gone in a year or two? Sort of that. Then you've got attacking midfield as well. I'll add Foden and Shirky there as well because they're attacking midfielders. But they can all sort of play as forwards, can't they? So it feels... I'm going to put classic central midfielders, actually. I'm going to move those two guys out of the way. So it's sort of like this, basically. Kovacic as well. Yeah, probably Kovacic. Sorry, miles away, Kovacic. They are sort of the current options, aren't they, in terms of classic midfielders. So thanks for the heads up, by the way. So I think it's very obvious, if I was Sverre Halseth Nypan, I'd be thinking in a year or so, these guys are going to be gone. You've got Nico O'Reilly, potentially, but he also can play at right back. So I'm going to add here because I think he wants to play century long term. I think he'll be the City. There's a good chance that Gundogan could go now. I saw the rumours, by the way. I'm not sure you've noticed. There's some rumours going around that Galatasaray could go for a triple signing of Ederson, Akanji, and Gundogan. Can you imagine, by the way? I would be absolutely buzzing about that. Not because I don't think these players have got quality, but that would be wonderful. Because I think we need to fast forward this rebuild. So there's a good chance that Gundogan could be gone this summer, which would, facilitate potentially a gap in midfield. Maybe not, I don't know. But Gundogan could be gone this summer, which would be interesting. I do hope guys move on, by the way. Not because I hate them, because I think it's the right time. I think City need to be ruthless about moving forward, and I think Guardiola needs to start focusing on Nico G. I think he needs to start focusing on Kusanov and Vitor Reis, and I think I think we need to move on past Edison, personally. Like, Diego Costa or Chevalier would be my personal pick. I'll be fine with that. So Nypan, you'd think, if these guys are gone, you can see Nypan slopping into this midfield role here in a year or so. And maybe in a year from now, our midfield options, midfielders for 26, 27 could look something like this, where if Nypan goes on loan, you've got Rodri, Nico G, you can play a little bit deeper. Then you've got a classic 8s. You've got Reinders, Nypan coming in. And potentially, I don't know, Nico Ryder, something like that. And then ahead of them, attacking midfielders, you've got Foden, Shirky, maybe Echeverri, if he does really well. Bear in mind, Foden, Shirky, Echeverri can all play as a forward line. I like it. I think there's an awful lot to like about this. It's one of those things where, for me, I think Nypan will go on loan. Look, it's not guaranteed. He is apparently going to stay. He is going to stay apparently around the first team during the pre-season as it stands for now, because nothing's been lined up. But we don't know how it'll go yet. Let me find the detail. There we go. There's this tweet here about him from Ty Marshall. Let me find what Ty Marshall's written, the senior football writer at Manchester Evening News. This is what the Manchester Evening News said about him. Oh, let me set that, mate. He's expected to go on loan, but no deal has been yet lined up. As things stand, he's expected to return for pre-season training with Guardiola's first team on Monday, July the 28th. That's 11 days away now, so unless a loan is not completed by then, he will be training, how adorable. Got lifts then. He'll be training with Guardiola and co by then. So it's one of those things where I expect he'll make an impression, but I also think he's going to be someone that City have got an eye on for a potential loan and then bring him back. I don't know, maybe it could be Leon. Have Leon been exonerated, by the way, in terms of actual... I think they have, haven't they? I don't know where they'll be, but the loan is going to be absolutely crucial. Like, the next step is going to be incredibly important, because I think this guy is one that could be incredibly talented, incredibly beneficial to City. He really is a cracking player. He's the kind of guy that, will be worth... 60, 70 million pounds if he went to a Brighton in a year or two. He's that level talent. And I think you look at people like Wharton, people talking about in the chat. Wharton is a fantastic player, and this guy sort of reminds me of him, being honest, in terms of a level of talent. Obviously, it's a very different league level, but yeah, we'll see. People talking about Zuma Bar, by the way, as well. We've got loads of great centre-backs. Vitor Reis, Kusanov, Zuma Bar. Zuma Bar, of course, I think needs another loan, maybe potentially. I think that's a good choice going back on loan to the French League. We'll see how he goes from there. But I think we're very quietly, I look at the players once again. I'll go back over here and I'll type up again the young players that we've got that currently aren't. What are the young talents that we've got below 23 years old? Young talents, in goal, not really anyone yet. But defensively, currently we've got Rico. Vardiel is obviously pretty young still. We've got Reis, Kusanov. On loan, we've got, obviously, Bar. Ainor is pretty young as well. You start to look at the profile of this team changing massively. I'm going to put reasonably young talents. Midfielders, you've got, obviously... Reinders isn't really necessarily young. I'll put him in there just because he's got many years left. Nico G, Nico O'Reilly, I'll put him there as well. I'll put... Echeverri, I'll put Nypan. Then forwards, you've got obviously Doku, Savinho, Bob as well. You start to see that the squad is really starting to... I'm not going to include Divine Mikasa, mate. I know you've got Makadu and Mikasa and Mifuni and so on. In the academy, you've got academy players like Makadu or whatever, Mikasa, you've got Mifuni, people like this who are doing really well. But, I think I'm on about the ones that we've signed. Shirky as well, of course, Shirky. I put him as a forward option there. You're starting to see a real change, a real change. Marmoush is, I guess you can include Marmoush if you wanted to, but then at that point, you've got to put Haaland in there because Haaland's young too. And then why not put Foden and Marmoush at the same point at that point? And I guess you can do, you could do that if you wanted to, but you started to see the age profile of the squad is getting really good. It's good, man. But either way, in terms of they've all got several years left, it's massively changed. And I suspect we'll start to lean on all these players pretty soon. And I can't wait to see how it goes down that route. I like what we're doing. I suspect one of these two players to step up massively and become world-class players, some of these younger ones over the next year or two, and then the ones behind that will start to push him as well. This signing is an interesting one. There are going to be some movement around him, I'm almost certain, unless, randomly, the only chance he could stay, by the way, if there's a scenario that he stays, it's if Gundogan goes and Kovacic goes. If those two go, that would leave just Rodri, Reinders, Bernardo, and essentially that's it as deep line midfielders. Nico G, sorry. Rodri, Reinders, Bernardo, Nico G. He could stay then. He could stay. But I agree with the citizen who said Nypan should be the Bernardo replacement next season. I think Nico Gonzalez should be playing an awful lot more. And then next season when Bernardo or Kovacic move on, Nypan should be coming in. I think it'll be that sort of succession planning. When you look at the players that we've got, attacking KDB, I'll go through the legends. KDB, come on, let me write over here in terms of the progression. KDB to Shirky. I'm hoping, Gundo is to Reinders. I was going to say Kovacic is to Nico G. Hopefully that's what you think in terms of the Bernardo to Nypan. This seems to be the, and then the older guys, defensively, Stones to Reese. Akanji to Kusanov. This should be the progression, shouldn't it? Okay, Vardy is already at the club, and then of course if you want, bring in Bar if you want to, potentially one day. I mean, Diaz is not that young yet, but old yet, but I'll put him here anyway if you want to. He's 28 years old. It's sort of this thing, isn't it? Really. Maybe Rodri, Nico O'Reilly there, and then Rodri. It can be Nico G if you want to. Rodri to, when he gets older, to Nico Gonzalez. You can start to see the progression, can't you? I like it, man. I like it. I like to see there is progression there with lots of talent, and I like to see how it goes. I like to see how City are moving forward. But David Silva to Foden. Well, I wasn't going that far back. I was going with the players who we signed and who are always here. If that makes sense, as opposed to going that far back. I'm on about the current ones. Roger will be 30 next season. Yeah. I've not forgot Foden at all. It's just that he's not a part of this conversation. Foden, he's not replacing anyone. He's already here, if that makes sense. And no one's replacing Foden, so that's why I've not gone for it. Scott Carson, Bettinelli, exactly. Yeah, that's the good one, unknown 10. But I like this signing. We'll see how it goes. Of course, I'll do more videos on him if there are any more news breaks about his future. For now, though, let me know what you make of this potential signing and how he goes. Sverre Halseth Nypan he's very good, man. 2-footed, press resistant, very David Silva-esque actually as well. Absolutely is. I can see those comparisons massively. Go watch some videos of him. I'm very excited for him. He seems a special talent, truly. I know he's not glamorous because he's come from the Norwegian league. He was Brazilian, though. Everyone would be purring about this guy, or Spanish, I promise you. Very talented. Give the video a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll be back tomorrow for another video. Bye bye guys, in a bit.